how's it going, guys? My name is Zach with the Movie Castle, and today we're going to be taking a look at Dark Exorcism. This is from 2015, directed by David Spaltro, and stars Grace Folsom, Lynn, Justinger, and Fiona Horrigan. And this movie I picked up not really knowing much about it. I love to dig through my used movie shop and find horror movies that I've never heard of. And I thought, hey, this looks cool. It's one of the Exorcism movies. There's a ton of movies with exorcism in the title, and I have a decent little collection, so why not grab it up? It's really cheap. Pop it in and see what's up with this. And the thing is, this movie's not terrible. On the technical side, they knew enough about what they were doing to avoid a lot of low-budget movie trappings. It wasn't particularly cheesy, and you could tell that the filmmakers were fairly competent. However, it's a painfully generic exorcism movie. It had a few ideas, but nothing that really made it stand out, and it's just a lot like a lot of other exorcism movies we have seen before, but sadly, not very scary, and that's a really big deal. I think if you guys are horror movie junkies and you just want something to throw on and pass the time, this will do it for you. It's not terrible, like I said. It's not particularly boring, but you're definitely going to forget this movie after a couple days, and I wish that wasn't the case, but it is what it is. In order to analyze it further, what's the movie about? No major spoilers, but what we're dealing with this time is there's a girl in college and she's writing a paper about demons and superstition. So she goes to an expert in the field, and the expert says, I've done over 200 cases, but I know I have to be skeptical, and out of those 200, I've only ever found 3 that I actually believe in. But how about you go with me on one of my trips and see what I do so you can write your paper. And naturally you get the Mulder and Scully setup. You know, you get the older one who really does believe, and then you get the younger one who thinks this is all in people's heads, you know, so the skeptic and the believer. But I will say it does jump into kind of the trope that I really hate, which is, hey, you have this school project coming up that really should be a nothing burger, but it turns out you have to be an exorcist for a week now. I mean, what is this interesting school that all these writers had to go to? The most interesting thing that I had to do for an assignment back in my school was drive down to Dallas, and yeah, I never had to be an exorcist. Did you guys ever have to do anything wacky for a school project? Because I see this all the time in movies. Anyway, they get to the house and they find it's a single mother. The father has passed away, there's a bit of family stress here, and the daughter is retreating to the basement and starting to act strange. They're of course going to find this isn't just a haunting, but a demon, a manifestation of pure evil, and naturally they have to figure out what happened and how to save the girl. So very standard exorcism stuff. They try to do something a little bit unique by having the is it real or is it not camp. And the thing is, while that is kind of unique, we've seen it done before, and we've seen it done way, way better. For example, The Exorcism of Emily Rose or The Last Exorcism. And both those movies, I think what really made them work as far as that angle goes is they did put weight into both sides, and they had it where even if it wasn't a demon, it would still be an interesting story. And with this one, you basically know from the get-go, yeah, this is going to be a demon. And it really isn't super scary either. Most of the mileage from the horror in this movie is simply going to be the young girl talking with spooky demon voice, which we've seen all the way back since The Exorcist, and this trope, I mean, I'm not scared by it anymore. Maybe if you're a newbie to horror, you might be a little bit, but that's what most of our horror is just demon voice. We do get a little bit of scary makeup, and we do get a little bit of contorting, and I mean, that's okay, but again, it doesn't really ever do anything for me. They try to do that whole ironic music playing, like in the beginning where it's like a chipper song when scary things are happening, and they tried some jump scares, but I never jumped at the jump scares, and I wish this movie was scarier, but you could tell they kind of didn't know how to do horror, you know? If you don't have a super scary atmosphere, then your scares aren't going to work, and also also, to get your scares to work, we really have to know and feel for the characters. Like in the first two Conjuring movies, we didn't want anything bad to happen to them because we liked the families in those movies, and these characters are just kind of there. The thing is with this movie is it's actually very thickly written in places where, like, the main girl goes into the basement by herself to talk to the demon, and there's some big blocks of text in there, and in the blocks of text there are some good ideas, you know, oh, you humans don't get this about demons, or you thought I didn't care, but I have a tragic backstory and I do care. But as interesting as blocks of text and speeches can be, if we don't care for the characters, they don't add a lot to it. And there was something where this movie just kept the characters kind of at arm's distance, and we never really got to know or relate to them. I mean, the main girl, she has this thing where she has a boyfriend who she likes and he wants to move in, but she's afraid of commitment, and she actually gets pregnant with his baby and doesn't know how to tell him because she doesn't know what she wants to do. She's happy but can't accept her happiness and is kind of scared by it. That is a big layered story that I really wish I felt something for, because you have to have a lot of skill to write a story like that. And with all these pieces, I'm like, okay, there's something there. I really wish with a plot like this, we didn't keep our characters at arm's length. I really wish I knew and cared for this character, because that sounds kind of interesting. And going for the flip side, the girl who's getting possessed, her personality is she paints. And that is not a personality. Like, I've seen so many low-budget horror movies where you want to show that a character is hopeful and full of creativity and life, and you want us to care. And in so many low-budget horror movies, like I just watched The Poltergeist of Borley Forest, that's in there. And I think, what was it, Amityville Terror, the sister was an artist or something. Like, I get trying to do this trope, but being an artist is not a personality. I'm sorry, low-budget movies, you gotta do better than that. So I think that really was the key, is characters in this movie were kind of weak. There was an attempt through the long speeches to develop them, but I just never really got into them. They never really had that human start that you need. You know, they always felt like characters and not people, and because of that, the horror wasn't as intense, but they also didn't know how to do horror, and there wasn't any really scary sequences. I think that might be the thing, is like the movie was well produced enough, and like it was shot well enough, and you could tell they knew what they were doing, but I kind of wonder if the whole set may have been a clean and controlled set, and you may have not had any real life in this movie because maybe they didn't have a place for life in this movie. If you have everything too sterile and controlled, it might cause the movie to wilt and die, and I think that might be what happened here. Overall, it's not super scary. It's a very standard and generic exorcism movie, and I didn't really care for much of what was going on, but it wasn't super cheesy and low budget, and it wasn't super clunky, so it was better made than a lot of them. But again, I'm going to forget this in a few days, so I can't really recommend it unless you need a disposable horror movie. Overall, yeah, whatever. Anyway though, to everyone who's watched so far, thank you for watching. To everyone who's liked and subscribed, thank you. You really are helping the channel out. I'll leave a relevant playlist on the bottom if you guys want to see more videos kind of like this. You can find them here. Anyway, have a good day. I'll see you guys again very, very soon. Relevant playlist here. Have a good day now.